Hey, it's Rhonda. I'm back with another Why Did I Buy? Today it's about fabric items, in particular these cloth calendars. These are things that you probably saw back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, on into the 80s, and they were quite common in some of the kitchens, especially in the South where I grew up. These are ones that often they would come in like boxes of detergent and things like that along those lines. You'd probably get them all kinds of places. I didn't really investigate all the places that you could find those originally, but I know you can find these at yard sales and such now. You'll see that they've all got different, they're about the same size. All of them are pretty much the same size, and they've got different focuses here. Like, for instance, this one has the little fisherman, and it has an outdoor scene and things, and you'll see that the calendar is on here, and this was for 1977. Now the cool thing is, when people do a retro kitchen, they will find something that these numbers are still the same, even though this number is different. And so that's something that they can still use in their kitchen. There's a lot of people that collect these. You'd be really surprised at how often I sell to people that say, "Oh, this completes my collection, of the 60s," or something along those lines. Let me show you another one. That one was 77. This one, I believe, is 67. Yeah, 67. And it's both of these just happen to have fall colors, but there's ones that are spring, there's ones that have like bunny rabbits and things like that on it for Easter time. And as you can see, it's got the calendar date or the year down here, and all of your dates again. Let's see how big these are. I don't think I measured it. I did in my listing, I am quite sure, because people use these for all kinds of things. They'll make pillows out of them. They'll use them. I've seen them used pieced together, and they've used them for curtains in the kitchen and stuff like that, if it's something that's a retro kitchen. It looks like this is about 26 by 17. 26 by 17. And like I said, most of them are pretty standard. You can see my messy garage. It's a mess. I'm still doing my organizing and such, so all of my videos are going to look like they're in progress, because they pretty much are. This one it has a little bit of staining. I mean, occasionally you'll see where it doesn't look like it's quite been cut here, but you'll see where they've been cut. I've seen some that have been fringed at the bottom and stuff like that, along those lines. But a lot of times, I'll see this split open and a little small curtain rod or whatever put in there, or a stick, so that they can place it in their kitchen or whatever. I know when I was growing up, my mother always had one of these. She bought one every year, for a while anyway, until that, I guess, wasn't popular anymore. But calendars are something that people often overlook anyway, and the cloth calendars are things that they'll get down in at estate sales and yard sales. They'll get down in some of the fabric and things like that, and people don't often look through all of that. But you'd be real surprised at how consistently they sell. Now, they are a bread and butter item, but bread and butter is what puts food on the table, is the way I look at it. So that's going to be something that you want to look for. I found a lot of these right now. I think I'm down to probably about 15 in inventory right now. But I bought, I'm trying to think, I think it was around 42 of these, 42 of these. I went to a yard sale with my daughter. We had gone to several yard sales that day, and we came up, and the lady was kind of high on a lot of things. But there was a big basket, and it was about, that big, about a 2-foot basket. And it was sitting over there, and the basket was real pretty. I didn't need it. I live in a small mother-in-law's wing, so I didn't really need a lot of stuff or anything like that. And I was asking my daughter about the basket. Was she interested in the basket? And the lady thought I was interested in everything that was in it. I hadn't really dug down in it or anything. And she said, "It's $8, and that's for everything that's in it and everything." And I thought, well, anytime that somebody tells me a price is something, and they follow it with the word everything. I do look through there because if there's one item that can pay for it, then everything else is extra. And I started digging through, and it was a couple of little tea towels or something that was sitting on top, but everything else was all of these calendars. And they had been her mother's or her grandmother's, aunts, or somebody's. And she was ready to get rid of them because she didn't want them and she wasn't interested in them. And she says, and those are obsolete, whatever. And I thought, no, they're probably not obsolete. This is probably something that people would be interested in, especially in that kind of volume. When I first bought it, and I thought, okay, $8 for 40 of them, plus the basket, which I ended up, I think I gave it to my daughter or sold it on Marketplace or something. That's been probably a year ago, a couple of years ago. I was thinking about it and I thought, well, do I need to sell these, do a collection of them, everything, from the 60s and sell them that way or whatever. And I started looking at them and I thought, well, the individual prices are pretty good. And then I started thinking about it and I thought, now, how would I buy these if I was a consumer? What would I want to do? And I thought, well, let's see, I was born in 1960. I graduated in 78. I married in 79. So those are all kind of hallmarks of my life. And would I want to do something like that, to kind of acknowledge, those years? And I thought, I bet you people will buy, their birth year ones and things like that. So I started doing those individually, and I never looked back. I never ended up doing a lot of them. Now I may, when it gets down to the end, if there's just a random few and they're all different dates or different years and stuff like that, I may end up just throwing them all in a lot. But I doubt it, because the longer that I leave them out there, they consistently sell. And so, like I said, I'm down to a handful of them, 15 or whatever it was I just said. I think I counted them before I popped on here. But the way that I, just for the resellers that are out there, the way that I end up doing these is I take all of my pictures and everything, and then I take Ziplocs and I just number these so I don't have to pull them out every time and try and dig through however many of these. And that way, I just put this number in my SKU that's on eBay or Etsy or wherever it is that I happen to be selling, because these can sell on Etsy, because they're 20 years old or older. On most of these, at least mine are. I guess I got that turned around on it. But I put these in there, and then as I find them, I have these just kind of set off to the side in the banker box that I store all of these in. And that way, if I find others, randomly out there and not in a big lot, like I found these, then I can just stick them in here and I can do a new listing, and I can do a sell similar off of my own listing, and, just go forward on those. So, there were, that lady had this question mark on her face, like, I don't know why she's buying these. Well, let me tell you why I buy.